All right, one more time we'll try this. So today we're going to talk about gesture recognition using jQuery mobile. So I've set up this page that I've called Swipe, and it has two internal jQuery mobile pages on it. And we'll call this Swipe 1. And this will be Swipe 2. All right, and I want to put a bunch of gestures in here, and so I'm going to put a div. It's interesting. Where's my open P? It's not there. So I'm going to put a div in here and give it an ID that I can play with, and I'm going to call it Swipe Results, so that I can add some. It's like doing some logging inside the page itself. All right. So I'm going to add some data inside of this div programmatically when I get a swipe event. All right. So that's what I'm using that for. So in my script, all I have to do to recognize some type of an event is and we'll do the just the tap event first. How about that? All right. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry. We'll do the swipe event. How about that? So what I have to do is I have to attach an event handler to some part of the document. And typically we would do this on the entire body. So on the body, I want to attach a swipe event. And we use this method called bind, which takes a parameter of what event I want to bind to this element, and I want to bind the swipe event. All right? And when that happens, I want to call an anonymous function to do something when that swipe event happens. All right? So the easiest is I want to use that little swipe results div, and I want to append some HTML to that. That's the easiest way to do it. Let's just append a little log message that says some type of swipe happened. All right, so whenever the body detects that a swipe has happened, it's going to call this method, append a string into this div. So that's all it's going to do, appending a string there. Isn't that cool so far? So let's load my swiper page, which is different. And I have to mimic a swipe, so I have to click and hold and drag to the right or the left. And let's look at my sources and see if I ever get here. So see if this ever triggers. Okay, it did trigger. So my swipe, I had this idea of swipe results right here. Oh, good point. You're probably right. So I didn't put this. Very good. Good job, Doug. I didn't put this div up here. I need the div in both of my pages, right? It'll actually put it in both, I believe. So I don't know why I don't have another P there. All right, let's try it again. So it worked. With that swiping, if I want, right? I can change pages and do all kinds of stuff. What? No swiping. So and we'll come back to the swipe. Okay. So there's lots of other events that I can deal with here. Let's say I want to detect a scrolling event. So I can bind, there are different events like scroll start. And for that, I want to do the same type of thing here. So I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to do some type of anonymous function whenever a scroll start event happens on the body. That's what that says. So in my swipe, I'm going to say scroll started. And believe it or not, there's a similar event to let you know when they stopped scrolling. What do you think that's called? Scroll stop. All right, so I've got two new events here, and let's go and reload my page. Take off my breakpoint. And so I've got my swipe left and right. I can scroll. To scroll, how do you do that on a mobile device? With your finger, right? You have to actually touch and pull down. So it's like a pulling down or a pulling up. So I touch and pull down. That worked really well, didn't it? The mouse doesn't work, no. So we'll go back to here and see why my scroll didn't work. It's not triggering. Why not? Nope. All right. So let's go. I was testing this in Ripple. Ripple lets you have is a plugin for Chrome and lets you have a simulated tablet or iPhone on your screen. And so this one actually does detect it. So
it's just because of your window there. I pulled it up on my tablet here.
yeah, the tablet should work fine, and the phone should work. So I got a scroll started and a scroll stopped. If I do a long scroll, click scroll down, then it knows when I stop scrolling, even if I have my finger still on the mouse.
The only problem is that using that scroll, you've taken out your swipes. See?
Nope. Right.
I'm trying to
It's going crazy with its scrolling. All right, so the swipe works, swipe left and right. So there also is instead of just a swipe, which lets you do is a generic swipe, I can also look for a specific type of swipe. All right, say I want to do a swipe left. You swiped left. And what do you think there is? Happens to be a swipe right as well. So we look for a swipe right. And change that, and we should be able to see that. All right, so let's save it. reload it in my guy here, and I can swipe swiped right, swipe left. Stop scrolling, please. Thank you. Swipe right. There's a swipe left. So I've got just a swipe event or a swipe left or right. So I can detect all of these kind of cool things. Right? Another one is orientation. Right? A phone or a tablet, I can change orientation, and real apps do something with that, right? You can change the layout or something. So we can do that if we bind it to the entire window instead. If we bind an event called orientation change, we can call a function when that happens and do something with that. Now, obviously, I don't have to just write to the screen, right? I can change stuff. I can load content. I can do anything I want inside of this. I'm just trying to show the different swipes. So I wanted to show what type of orientation we're in. So I'm going to add a paragraph to this one. Orientation changed to. And the orientation that it changed to is stored in this event that gets passed to my function. The event has lots of information in it, and I can say, look at the orientation property and tell me what I've changed to. So I'm going to print out what the orientation is here to the screen, okay? And I can simulate that in my RIPL by changing the orientation here. Under the devices, I click here, and it says switched to landscape. See, orientation changed to landscape. I didn't put a space in there. If I rotate myself back, now I'm changed to portrait. Landscape, portrait. Isn't that cool? Swipes still work. Scrolls still work. All right? That's interesting that it's doing that. All right, any questions on that so far? Isn't that cool? There's not a shake function in the jQuery mobile. I can shake it here, but it doesn't do me any good. I couldn't find any shaking that happened. So there's also tapping and tap holding, because those are typical gestures, a click and hold at the same time. So you're holding your finger down on a button and it might do something, or just tapping a button might do something. So let's look at those. So just to show something different, I want to add an event to my swipe results instead. I want to add a tap event to my swipe results div. So when they tap that div, I want to do something to that div. So I want to call a function that gets executed when that happens, my anonymous function that you guys write 1,000 of them now in jQuery. And let's just do something like let's look up the swipe results, and let's change the background color, make that easy. And we'll make it red. All right? Nope, didn't save it. So we'll have some, this is my div up here. If I tap on that by and that, I'm simulating that with my mouse. See, it does a lot of stuff. Isn't that great? Didn't work. So, what did I do wrong? So let's see if that happens. It's not getting to my swipe results function. It's interesting. Let's take it out of Ripple.
I'm not getting a tap on mine either.
Yeah, it's not tapping. So the problem is a typo. I have swipes results, and so let's put this back the way it was just to show that. So this is swipes results. Reload it. Reload it. Now when I click, it's actually going to the right place because I clicked on something that actually was on the screen, and let it continue, and it changes the background color to red. Isn't that great? Isn't that fantastic?
What about the semicolons at the end of everything? Is JavaScript that picky since it's a C-based language? Here inside your document ready, right?
Yes.
So do you need a semicolon after all of those?
Ideally, yes, I would put semicolons after all of these.
But
Yes.
it's not gonna crash.
It's not that.
Obviously it's not crashing.
It's not that picky, no.
Okay. It's just not that big.
It is sometimes. I mean, it depends. These are like single statements, so these are okay. But that's the better way to do it.
It could blow up eventually.
It could, yes. So you're better off doing this. Yes, thanks. All right. So the other way, instead of, I can make this a little more generic and looking at some more of the event data that it gives us, I can look at the event target. And the event target is the same thing, but it already gives it to me. So I can look at what were you trying to target and do something with that target. So I need something in there, click, it works the same way. All right? So one more event is the, let's just copy this, is the tap hold event. So I want to do a different event on the same element, my div. And for this one, when I do a tap hold, I want to do a change it to blue. All right? So I've got some events. I click once, it turns red. I click and hold, it turns blue. I let up, and it goes back to the tap event. So it goes back to the red. So it actually calls it twice. So this is the hold, and that does something. It's actually in that function. And then when I let up, it goes and executes the tap event as well. All right? So
How would you use that functional? Like what would it, why would you want to hold in a
you can maybe start animation with that or something like that. I mean, I've never used it myself, but you can click and hold, and then it starts wiggling to do something like that. That's how some mobile apps work like that. with a lot more code, I can click and hold and drag, start a drag event,
Yeah.
and drag that element up.
Almost a sortable.
Yep.
optimal,
Right.
because you can't know if you would just do that.
Right, right. So I can move a box around the screen with my click and hold.
Okay.
So those kind of things you could use. All right, and one last thing, I want to do the swipe left and right and actually do something other than just writing on the screen to show you that I could use that for navigation. So I want to, let me take out my swipe left and right events. Oops, I'm not actually in my editor, am I? Let's take out these guys. And I can actually bind two events at the same time. I could actually bind more than two events. But I want to bind either a swipe left, both of these. I'm binding a swipe left and a swipe right event to my body tag. And when either of those happen, I want to call this event. Okay? You swiped in some direction. All right? So there are ways in the event to get that data out. It's an and. If either of those is hit, the function is bound to both of them. Right. Right. So either event happens, it's going to call the same function. All right. So I can get the direction. Let's do it up here. From the event itself by looking at the type data. All right, so let's just see what that looks like in the let's just make a sentence and print out the direction that we had. And let's put this in a p tag so it puts basically puts carriage returns on the screen for us. Oh, did I? E is not defined. So E is not E, it's event. Good error to catch. So the direction that it gives me is this long word, swipe right or swipe left. So when I swipe left, oops, swipe right, swipe left, it tells me that which direction it happens. So I can get that out of the event information. So given that event information, I can change pages on the screen. Remember these little virtual pages? I can also get the type of, what page am I on? So I need to know what page I'm on to start with. And I can call the mobile method and figure out the active page. Sub-0, that gives me the current page that I'm on. That this page variable now will be the current page that I'm on. So then I can do some if checks. And if my direction is swipe right, and my page.id is my first one, which is, what's my page ID here? Swipe 1. So if I'm on page 1, then I want to do something. And I can tell the jQuery mobile to change pages. Change page to the next page, whatever that ID of the next page is. So swipe 2 in my case. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that I'm on page 2 and change back to page 1. All right? So using all this information from the event data, Did I have it? Right? All right. Using all that information, I can use my swiper to go from page to page now. So I'm currently on swipe 1. I swiped to the right. I did a swipe 2. Swipe to the left. I'm back on swipe 1 page. So I'm swiping back and forth between the pages. Isn't that cool? That's cool stuff, man. Any questions on any of that? So given these events, you can do anything you want inside of that code. Once you detect it, you can do all kinds of fun stuff with your code. All right? That's all I have today. Any questions on that? No questions? All right.